Welcome back to Built Fabrications. Today we're going to try to get Julia's truck running well. I already got the carburetor pulled off. It's just 4 bolts and a couple hoses, so nothing really to see there. And whenever we reinstall it, you'll see the same thing, but in reverse order. So first course of action is I'm going to try to get this carb rebuilt. I'm hoping that it's not too worn out that we can reuse this, but obviously time will tell with that, and we'll see whenever we get that point. There is a little bit of play in some of the things on it, but we're going to give it a shot nonetheless. Also, one other thing that could be causing some of our problems is a lot of the hoses, like this cap here. I don't know if you can see that. Is a little dry rotted and cracked, so we could potentially have a vacuum leak coming from there, which would cause it to not want to idle well. So anyways, we're going to get this cleaned up, stripped down, and put a rebuild kit in it.
You can see the riding on the pavement. Young kids, they're growing up in basements.
So you got the carb rebuilt. Mixed feelings on how it's going to go. Obviously, it'd be better if I had this in a hot tank or a chemical wash to kind of get some of the real nasty stuff on the inside cleaned out and let it sit overnight. I don't have those things, and I didn't do those things, so we'll kind of see what this does for us the way that it is. So I'm going to get this mounted on and hooked back up, and then continue on. I also want to still change spark plugs and do an oil change on this thing, and I have a new wires, a cap and rotor as well that I want to get installed. One other thing, I don't know if you saw it in the video, but they had stacked a couple gaskets here plus put RTV, and I'm hoping that that's not a makeshift spacer. So I guess we'll find out, and if it is, it's going to definitely shut us down for today because I don't have a spacer, so I would need to pick one up. So hopefully that's not the case. So for my idle screws, my base adjustment is I'm going to bring them both out 1 1/4 turns. So we got half, 1 1/4. Half, 1 1/4. So we'll start with that as our adjustment, and then as we get the truck started, and we'll make the adjustments to get the idle set correctly, as well as the idle for it. All right, so the next thing I'm gonna do is get these plugs changed. Definitely running rich. There we go, it's focusing a little bit better. A little rich, but besides that, it doesn't look horrible. So for your new spark plugs, these 351 modifieds typically like to run about 44 thousandths on the spark plug gap. So to check that, all you need to do, I actually already pre-gapped this one You get one of these gap tools, slide it in here, and just slide it until you get some resistance. So right about there, so that's about 44 right there. So this first one's good. Go ahead and get this plug in, and I'm going to get the rest out and the new ones in, and then I'll jump back with you guys whenever I'm ready to do the plug wires as well as the cap and the rotor. So next thing we got to do is you got a new set of plug wires as well as a new cap and a new rotor. So we'll get all this installed, and then got an oil change after this. So we're back the next day. It got late on us last night and it got dark, so we didn't get to get this thing fired up, but I got the oil change done, and so now we're ready to get some gas in this carburetor, get it fired up, and hopefully it's going to be still in good shape that we could use. Go ahead. Go again. Stop. So the carb is overflowing, the floats were getting hung up, which is causing the gas to back up through these vent ports. Took it apart. Hopefully it was just the way that it was sitting in there. If not, I'm gonna have to take this back apart again and check the drop on the floats. So anyways, I'm gonna give it a try again, start it up. It's also weird, it seems like I'm having a like ignition issue, like a misfire. I don't know if maybe one of these coils or a couple of these coils aren't plugged fully on, but I'll address one thing at a time. Go ahead. So I had to take that carburetor apart a couple times and set the float height on them. That's why I was having the flooding, and I went back and I unplugged all the boots on the spark plugs and reconnected them, make sure they had a solid connection, which certainly seemed to have made a difference. I got the carburetor to where now the truck is running and idling on its own. You don't have to sit there and hold it, which is good. I actually got it in gear and drove it forward and backward just a little bit. It does need some more tuning, but as I'm sure you could tell, it's pretty dark here, so I'm gonna have to do that likely tomorrow, and hopefully get this thing permed pretty good, and I'll get you guys back in here at that time and we'll take a look at it. So I've been chasing out a vacuum leak in the carburetor, or possibly an issue with the idle circuit. I had to take the carburetor off again, tear it all down. I got it in a chemical solution. I let it sit in there for a few hours and got it rebuilt. The truck is running a lot better. We're getting good vacuum at idle, and we got a couple decorative accoutrements on the top of the engine now. It's pretty cool, looks good. Anyways, still gonna need to probably get with either another carburetor or possibly go EFI swap on the truck. We're still kind of chasing out some bugs, but it's pretty good overall. So I'm actually under the gun at this point. This video is probably gonna be having to come out in like, I don't know, like an hour or two from this point, and I still need to finish editing it and getting it uploaded. So with that being said, I'm gonna get you guys in, show you where we're at with the truck and how it's running now, and then whenever we decide if we're gonna go another carburetor, EFI or whatever, that will be presented to you guys in another video in the future. So I'm gonna get this truck started, get you in there, take a look at it, and we'll wrap this video up. So the truck's running a lot better than it was. Unfortunately, it's not perfect, which was the goal for this video, but that's just kind of the nature of the beast working with cars. You run into these problems and you just have to keep on hitting them head on and get them worked out. No big deal. We'll get it worked out. Like I said, either it'll be a new carburetor or possibly an EFI swap. Put it in the comments if you vote one way or the other. So definitely be on the lookout next week. We have a C10 update video. I know it's been a while since that has been on the channel. So if you've been wanting to follow that, definitely be looking out for it. It'll give you an update on where we're at with the project and where we're going with it. So thank you guys all for watching. I appreciate it very much. Get outside, get wrenched on something, piss off your neighbor, disappoint your mom, and until next time, keep on keeping.